Remember, we're being recorded, so don't say anything. No bedroom talk.
Okay.
Candice and Casey's podcast. They're doing couples therapy.
So, welcome to the first ever podcast. This is the Couples Therapy with Casey and Candice podcast. And, well, if I could paint a picture for you as to what our set and situation looks like, we're in the basement of 368 right now. We don't really have a set. And, this is kind of funny. So I'm doing this podcast with a company called Anchor, and Anchor is like a startup, and they do everything soup to nuts for podcasts. Awesome guys. And I've been emailing with them. Candice is yawning already. We're 30 seconds into the first. I've been emailing with Anchor, being like, hey, can you guys just come hold my hand because I know I'm going to screw up our first podcast. And when Candice and I got here an hour ago to record, the CEO of the company had my drill gun in his hand and was screwing together this set that we had Dan build. So thanks for the support, guys.
Sweet guys.
Sweet guys. You feel good now? You have your $1 pizza?
Feel better.
Yeah? Okay, so the podcast, it's been a long time coming. There's been a lot of I's to dot and T's to cross to make this happen. Is that even true, though?
No, we just had to sort out your 368 stuff before we could do this,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, I guess so. And it's not entirely sorted yet. Like I said, we're in the basement.
It's very awkward because there's 3 cameras, lighting, no one else down here. We're talking to each other with microphones and headphones on, and you have sunglasses on.
Well,
it's like, how is this supposed to be natural?
I was more going for intimate over natural.
Can you be intimate with sunglasses on?
Not really. So, origin story from the podcast. So we were going to do this live, like we were going to live stream our podcast, and Candice put a huge kibosh on it. She was like, absolutely not. I'm not to be trusted live. Casey, you have to edit what I say before it goes public.
I'm too bad.
I'm a liability, which I appreciate your honesty.
Well, in real life, I'm hysterical, but some people have to know me to get my humor. But I know why I wanted to do the podcast.
Tell me.
It was all the nasty comments on your videos about me.
Yeah.
For me, that was like, I wanted somewhere where people didn't just get 2 seconds of my snarky face and then think that's who I was.
Your RBF?
My RBF. I mean, I am a bitch, but there's more to me than just being a bitch.
Look, I'm an asshole. This is why
you are a major asshole.
You don't have to
but
say
there's
that.
so much more to you.
You don't have to say it like that.
I accept your asshole side because there's a whole other part of you that's just wonderful.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. And also, when you put out or live your lives on a daily blog.
See, you said put out, and now I'm just laughing.
Honey, we went over the rules here.
Okay, go ahead.
PG-13 is what we're aiming for here.
Yeah.
It came from a place of we put so much of our lives out there on YouTube, and I use that word we fairly liberally because ultimately I'm the arbiter of how Candice is portrayed. And I do think I try my best to portray you accurately, but it's just tough.
Yeah, but I don't give you a lot to work with.
That's right.
Because I hate the camera in my face.
Yeah, and it makes it tough because Candice is on the blog for 15 seconds, and if she's not giving a generic chipper smile, people eat her alive for not smiling or not being a version of, I don't know, people have expectations. So we got to talking, and it was like, what's a vehicle where you can be yourself? What's a vehicle where you can have kind of agency over how you're portrayed? And that's how we landed on the podcast. Mm-hmm. Is that fair?
Yeah.
And the title.
Well.
Couples Therapy.
How did we come to that? I think you thought of the title, but why did we think of it as going to be more of a therapy session than just telling jokes?
Well, you have jokes?
No.
I didn't know that's part of the script today.
No, I'm making a thing. There's actually a name for what just happened. It's called stupor.
Okay.
It's a side effect of one of the medications I take to keep me happy.
Well, that's an excellent segue into the name Couples Therapy.
Right.
Well, I remember early on one of the vlogs, it's 2016, I started filming after you and I left our actual therapy. Therapy session.
Therapy session.
And we go to proper we go to proper therapy. And after we had left, I said we just left therapy. And then I think I said something to the camera along the lines of like, what is it? You don't wait till it's broken. But there's a clever way I said it. I didn't invent it. I stole it from someone. It's like you don't go to the doctor, right? You don't go to the doctor you don't wait till you're sick to go to the doctor. You go to the doctor to make sure you don't get sick.
Right.
That makes sense, right?
Right.
And so many people in the comments and on Twitter and everywhere else just sort of lit up. And they're like, what's wrong with you two? Why are you going to therapy?
So weird, right?
I think
Maybe not weird. Maybe common, like, reaction.
I think it's weird for us because we are so fluent in understanding of what therapy is.
There's such a weird stigma attached to therapy. And there's all kinds of therapy. There's like hippy dippy therapy where they're like trying to talk about your aura and like your positive vibes and here's a crystal. And then there's what I do, which is a medical doctor who went to NYU medical school and like she's very black and white and talks about chemistry and I don't know. There's the whole thing in between.
Candice is describing her personal therapist. We don't actually go to couples therapy.
Can I have a ding dong? They're just sitting there. I just need one.
We have a case of ding dongs here on the table because, they were upstairs and I thought they'd be cute set dressing, but now Candice is eating them. No, when we go to couples therapy, it's Candice's personal therapist, who she goes to, once a week?
It's my doctor. She's my doctor / therapist I go to once a week.
And you hear me opening the box of ding dongs? And when Candice and I are in a rough spot, we can't figure something out on our own because we're a married couple and that shit happens. We just go and we talk to her and it's literally like, is Candice and I on the couch? It's a funny picture. Having like a marital discussion, like fighting over something just asinine. And then a smart doctor sitting there with like her notepad out nodding her head. And it's not a cliche. She literally says things like, and how does that make you feel?
Which is so infuriating, but you have to.
No, but the thing is like, there's never been a therapy session that we don't walk out of. And at the end of it, we're like, oh, I love you
so much better.
I'm so glad you did. Thank you for coming.
Okay, you know what it is though, for couples, I think?
Tell me.
It's not even that we're fighting over something. It's that the fight is not a fight. It's you're frustrated because you don't understand what I'm saying, and I'm frustrated that you don't understand what I'm saying. So we go to her, and she's like, Casey, why don't you tell me why you're here today? Because she knows whatever is going on is like, it's my fault because I can't explain it like a rational human instead of an irrational, emotional female.
You don't have to generalize, honey.
Well, I mean, that's kind of it. Like, we get into like the whole thing, but usually it's just we need a person to literally translate what you're trying to say to me and what I'm trying to say to you, and that's why we walk out of there and we're like, oh, that's all you wanted?
And that's what it is. That's what it is for us. And I think that there's so much about psychiatry and going to a doctor and all of that is more that is on the mental health side. And
that's where I go alone.
That's very real. And Candice does, like, I've been with Candice, how long have we been together, honey?
15 years.
That is so insane. There are people listening to this right now that aren't even 15 years old. Candice and I have been together since we were both children in diapers. And Candice has, there's times when she's gone to a therapist and times when she hasn't. And she's just better when she does. And I think that's her focusing on her own mental health, which is something that I'm both appreciative of and jealous of. I wish I gave my brain as much attention as she gives hers. But when we go together, it's literally just having a referee for our fist fight. Mm-hmm. And at the end of it, we feel good. It's about communication. So that's what couples therapy is.
That's how we came to it.
We should have the doctor come on the podcast and do a session with her.
I don't know if legally she can, but I told her that I was going to maybe we could talk about something like that.
Do you think that if she listens to this podcast, she can just email us what we should do and then we don't have to pay her full rate?
No. No.
The idea of podcasting, you've heard me talk about it so much in the vlogs. I just do you even listen to podcasts, honey?
This American Life, is that a podcast?
It is.
Yeah, that I love.
But you listen to it on the radio?
No, I listen to it on their app on the phone.
So there's a podcast. Mm-hmm. I've fallen completely in love with podcasts. People always ask what music I listen to when I run. I don't. I just listen to podcasts. political podcasts, a lot of that. I listen to This American Life. My favorite is The Daily by the New York Times. I just think it's incredible. But I love podcasts. And then when I was thinking about
You just like saying podcast.
how many times do you think I've said it so far? I don't know. And when I was thinking about 368, like it's hard to figure out where video fits in here when it comes to scaling and helping people. But podcast just kind of makes sense. Like this studio here, if we didn't touch anything of our setup, Candice, somebody else could come sit here and record their podcast the minute we walk out. And that's an amazing thing. And if we use this infrastructure to help other people do their podcasts, and then we can use the leverage of the social media reach that I have to help promote people, it just seems like a very natural plug into what we're trying to do at 368. So that's exciting. What did you know? What did you know about 368 before I launched it? I realized like when I posted that video that I never really discussed the intimacies of the new project with you.
I mean, I would have to lie and say, listen to everything that comes out of your mouth at all times. You're just like this like gumball machine of ideas, and every day it's like, ding, ding, ding. Oh, what is it today? Candice, I have this great idea. Can I talk to you? Are you listening? Are you listening? Put your phone down. Listen to what I'm doing. And I think when you talked about 368, though, you only said it in like a couple sentences, and it made sense to me. But the funny thing is, every time people say, what's Casey doing next? And I tried to explain it, I make absolutely no sense. I'm like, it's this space where like people come together. They're like, so they rent like a WeWork, like they rent a desk. I'm like, no, like and whatever. I mean, I'm not going to get into it, but you even watched me try to explain it to my mother, and you're like, Candice, just stop.
And he's going to have equipment there. And then there'll be desks. Mom, he's going to have desks in there too, and there'll be people. So that's the business. Candice's poor South African mother is just looking at her and she's like, I believe in you, Casey. I mean, I'm proud of you.
Well, I think they learned their lesson with like having faith in you when we first met.
Oh my God. This is now we're going back into the therapy part of the couples therapy. When Candice and I first met,
I mean, we don't have to get into it, but basically like...
You can't tease.
Okay, well, I mean, the short story is we eloped, and then everyone asked, what does he do? And I'm like, he makes videos.
Candice comes from a conservative Jewish South African family where literally every single person's a doctor. When we go to those Thanksgiving dinners, like 45 doctors at the dinner table.
My sister's a doctor. She married a doctor.
Dad's a doctor.
Dad's a doctor. All the friends are doctors. All the kids are doctors.
So, and I wasn't even a filmmaker then.
I think you were just a tinkerer.
Artist.
I remember
seeing the look on your... No, I don't claim that title. I just remember the look on your parents' face when you were like, Casey's an artist, and your mom's just this look of terror.
I know. And then this one friend, she goes, so how much money does he make? And I was like shocked that someone would ask that. But, you know, you weren't a doctor or a lawyer. Nobody understood. Everyone was concerned that you weren't going to be able to support me.
And now, 15 years later, when I go to those family dinners, this is not a joke, by the way. The last one was like 3 weeks ago in Texas. Family dinners, like 50 people there. I still like sit at the kids' table. This is not a joke. And like for a 4-hour dinner and 4-hour family get together, I make it like 30 minutes. I call an Uber. I say to everyone, I'm so sorry Francine's misbehaving. She's not. To like pinch her till she cries. And then we like jump in the car and I just leave. I don't do well in those situations.
Yeah, you don't do well in crowds.
So I have a question for you, something we never talked about. I don't even want to talk to you about it. I just think it'll be good material for the podcast. So I don't want to talk to you about it, so I'm nervous about what you're going to say. Is your contributions to the vlog, like season 1, I would describe as like reluctantly involved. Is that fair?
Well, yeah. I thought that you doing a vlog was the most like egomaniacal thing anyone could possibly do.
And just so
I thought it was, sorry.
I was just going to say, just so the audience understands that, when I started the vlog, my channel wasn't even monetized. So it was like, she was like, why are you doing this? It's not earning, this isn't earning, this isn't helping pay our bills, this is taking up all of your time, this is like, you know, you're bringing a camera into the house. And the reality is I didn't have an answer for you because I had no idea what the hell I was doing or why I was doing it.
Mm-hmm. Which is why now I kind of just trust whatever your decision is for anything you do. But at that point, we were like on and off dating for 12 years. Then we got engaged, married, and had a kid within a year.
12 months.
And then I fucking hated you because I was like, why did I do this? And my life is like, went from so awesome to like, now I'm just this mom. Like, anyway, that we can talk to our doctor about. But the whole vlog thing just made it even worse because it's like all of a sudden you were not present. Everything that your eyeballs saw was that data was going to your vlog part of your brain.
Right.
You know,
It's
it wasn't
so fair. It's exactly what it
wasn't
was.
like, look at this sofa, is this right for the living room? You're like, is this a good story for the vlog right now?
Right.
And it was infuriating. And so every time you brought the camera towards me, I flipped out. Like, no, I'm not going to smile. I'm not going to be a part of this. Like this, I don't support this whatsoever.
And that's what it was like for, I would say, the first 6-8 months.
Mm-hmm.
It was, like vlogging now, I think people have an understanding of what vlogging is. People know what it means. But then no one did, and I didn't. I just got so excited at this idea of making a video every day. And then when it worked and people were responding to it, it completely overcame me. And I didn't understand your objections to it because for me, it was so exciting.
Yeah.
And you also never, in my own, if I can defend myself, because that was a pretty harsh takedown. You did it like 2 seconds ago. It's like, easy, lady.
Okay.
My God, you dropped the F word. Now we're up at like an R rating.
No, we're gonna do the
We're gonna
beep.
beep. Okay. In my defense, you never really articulated your objections the way you just did.
No, because it was pre-Dr. P.
Well, I also
There was no we didn't have any like practice communicating whatsoever. Before we got together, it was so many years of you and your work and your life and your friends, me and my work and my life and my friends and my dog. We never lived together. We were never really like dating for more than 6 months at a time. And now, that's what I mean, is like within a year, we went from like never even living together to being engaged, married, and pregnant.
yeah,
And all of a sudden,
and a camera.
And all of a sudden we had to figure out how to be sensitive around each other, but neither of us were willing to be sensitive.
She's making it sound pretty doom and gloom, by the way, but there were a lot of. I'm not gonna apologize for it. There was like a lot of. There was a lot of really positive stuff too. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
We didn't dislike
hate
each other. Yeah,
it was
good.
just there was a level of stress, I think, though, a lot of the times.
Absolutely, especially because I was
and misunderstanding. Like, I didn't understand why you couldn't see that this was frustrating for me, and you couldn't understand why I wasn't just supporting your work. There was a lot of that. And I really think that the reason, and I'm not going to say therapy again because I don't want this to be like a hokey, all they're going to talk about is therapy kind of thing, but like really, 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 and I think you understand this, and that's why you are willing to go back to Dr. P all the time with me, is that it translating each other, like being able to communicate in a language that neither of us prior to the doctor spoke, like I think that we would be divorced if it wasn't for therapy.
Yeah, and well, just to clarify, the divorce would not have been, or the main tension point in our marriage was not the vlog. It was myriad factors that were, I think, exasperated by my work, my work, your work, jealousy, and not to mention we were living in we were on top of each other in that apartment. We had a room for I don't know if I can say this or it'll get us in trouble. It won't get us in trouble.
It wasn't a bedroom.
we had this is what we did. We had the apartment was like a 1-bedroom. And we built another room in there for Francine that wasn't a real room. She didn't have any windows. We had the home inspector come and be like, yep, this is a 1-bedroom, sign off on it. And the same day, we had the construction workers come back and build an extra bedroom after they signed off on it being one. I don't want to move on from that part of the conversation without a little bit of clarity in that there was also a really transformative aspect of the vlog, I think, for our marriage. And I don't know how cognizant you were of it, but for me, it was like one of the most profound things, which is that like Candice and I'm going to throw both of us under the bus right now. We're both guilty of a really, really bad crime when it comes to relationships, which is that when we get in a fight, whether it's over like, did you eat the last of my Thai food or something much more egregious, we hold grudges for like 5 months. Like we'll go a week without speaking to each other over who ate the last like donut. But when we were vlogging and I had to look at your face every day in the footage. No, I was going to say something positive.
Okay.
It made me realize how silly and insignificant our fights were. And like at the height of vlogging, when I was really trying to figure it out, before I figured out how to like get it out of our personal lives, for me, it was instrumental in kind of getting to know you and understanding how insignificant the things were that we fought about. Because we don't really fight anymore.
We don't.
It's great.
The last thing that it was almost going to be a fight.
What did I do?
I don't even remember what it was.
Excellent.
But,
Excellent.
But both of us said, hold on, let's just hold on. I have a doctor appointment on Friday. I think it was a Wednesday. I was like, let's just go on Wednesday. Let's drop this and we'll talk about it on Friday. And we did.
But I think we even forgot that
by Friday. I know.
Yeah, we're pretty simple people. But this time around, my question that predicated that very long answer there, my question was, since launching 368 and then even the last kind of year of the vlog, it didn't have that negative impact on our marriage and on our relationship.
The 368 vlog. No, in fact, when people are like, he's vlogging again, I'm like, yeah, but I can't explain it. Like, I think he's just more sensitive about it. You're much more open with the communication. So you're like, okay, today and this week, let's go over the calendar. I'm going to be gone here. I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be doing that. And when you come home, the camera's gone. And you sort of know the important family times. And you stop for the important family times. Well, and I think that I've stopped harassing you about not vlogging or whatever because you've sort of softened up with the like family time and like not talking about it and like this is.
You've been incredibly supportive of the whole.
Oh no, you've been so good.
This is
stop.
If we just say nice things to each other, we need really rich drama here. We're never going to make TMZ. But no, you've been really supportive of it, and I think this time around, and honestly, the last 2 years have been really, really positive. No, You're giving me this condescending look.
I'm not giving you a except when we almost got a divorce.
Okay, but that had nothing to do with.
It didn't have anything to do with the vlog.
No, it had to do with like a fight about. God, that was stupid.
That was awful.
That was awful. That was. That's a whole episode if you want to get. I do want to volunteer that in naming this podcast Couples Therapy, I didn't think it would be so close to actual couples therapy. We did the right thing. We're really doing it.
Well, what do we have in common? Our issues.
That's true. And now everybody is welcomed into this conversation. Your work. Mm-hmm. Your work has been. I don't know, at times, I think a challenge for you and for us, and there's been a lot of questions about why and why you want to do it, and then there's been times where there's such crazy highs for you that like your entire identity becomes your work. Whenever I show up at your office, you seem super, super excited about it. Mm-hmm. What's changed?
I hate my work when I put pressure on myself. So it's when I like even the other day, we interviewed somebody for a small part-time like freelance position, but she was smarter than me in her skill set or whatever. And she was telling me what I needed to do with branding and what I needed to do with the Instagram and I need to do this and I was like, no, I'd rather not work. Like I'm not looking for investors for $100 million to start a brand. I'm not looking for. I just want to pay my girls what they deserve and make things that I like to make because I think other people might like them and might want to buy them too. There's this pressure to be like there's this brand Glossier, which I'm sure everybody who's listening knows what it is, but you know the girl. It's huge,
it's great.
Right?
It's huge. Yeah, they do amazing stuff.
And then this whole thing like Seed A and Series Round and whatever the hell you call it. Like I can get an investor. I wouldn't know what to do with the money. Like, that would not make me happy. I'm happy having my finger in the pot of, like, every aspect of what I do.
And I think...
So when I relax and I just focus on, like, making a T-shirt and something like having a 12-year plan and what my goals are, I'm sure that's what I should be doing. I'm just not interested.
The place where I think you sell yourself short is when you talk...
Okay, here we go.
I'm Candice's biggest cheerleader. And when she says things like, I don't need to raise money, I don't know what I'd do with it, I'm so forceful. Because I just see such potential. And I think the way you characterize your own business is it sounds more like a hobby, but the reality, the objective reality of the situation, you are a small business owner with how many employees? 3?
3.
You are a female business owner with an all-female staff of your own company that you founded, and you're the sole proprietor of.
Except for Matt. I do have a boy. I'm sorry.
Who's Matt?
Matt works for us part-time now.
Oh, he's the new packing guy. Okay. He's more of a temp.
No, we love him.
I told you that you should have hired a girl. It's a much less romantic story when it can't
Okay,
be.
but like executive level is all girls.
Yeah. Okay. But female founded company, female managed company, female run company. It's your company. You started it from nothing. It's all direct to consumer, which means all of your sales are sales because you marketed. You made a product people wanted and you marketed it. And it's successful. You have a profitable company.
I know.
So
but
when you
if I
beat yourself up, I get frustrated because it's like you've moved mountains, Candice.
Casey, I don't have the bandwidth to make it what I think other people want me to make it. I have to manage you. I have a child. I have a very demanding family.
You do.
I have 2 brands. And I deal with there's a lot of logistical stuff I deal with in my life in our life that you don't. I don't have time. I'm not like 25 or even 35 and single and can focus everything on making it a multi-$100 million company. So for me and my own insecurity, thinking of it as like a profitable hobby, because it is profitable, takes so much pressure off of it.
I know. I look at Billy and all I see is I see a $100 million company inside of 18 months. It is such a cool company. You have such a cool product. You have such an interesting story. It's such like an empowering story. It's like the time is right for a company like Billy. So I don't.
Then I need to hire somebody above me that knows what they're doing.
I don't mean to beat you up over it. Just consider me a enthusiastic. You okay?
Sweating.
Are you freaking out right now?
Sweating.
I want you guys to know that she's not just sweating because she's here in the podcast, but whenever our conversations in the car at home get to this place, she starts pulling at her shirt, pulling at her shirt too and saying, I can't do this. I can't do this.
I can't right now.
And then I also, how much of your identity is wrapped up in your work, I think is something that you don't give yourself enough credit for.
Yeah. There's also something even like scratching the surface.
Are we going back to therapy session now?
A little bit. There's the competition where it's like, you work your ass off, but it's very easy for you for work.
It comes naturally for me.
It comes naturally.
Yeah.
Fast decision maker. You're not super hyper specific about decisions being exactly right. I care too much is my problem.
Yeah, that's the truth.
And that takes a lot of time out of my day. But if I can keep it as a hobby, then I'm not competing against you and your success. I still can't believe even right now you're referring to your company as a hobby. If it's not a hobby, it's a business. It's successful. I make money. My bank account is growing. Like, it's good. It's great. Everything's fun. Yay, woo! Maybe health insurance for everybody next year. But for you and I as a pair, it almost seems like my work is so insignificant compared to what you do and how people think about you.
That like hurts my feelings to hear.
Why should it hurt your feelings to make you feel amazing?
Because I have such a tremendous amount of, I'm so proud of what you've built. Like, I'm not saying that to sound condescending. I was there when like you and your partner broke up a dozen years ago and you were like, I'm shutting it down. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to get a job in a doctor's office.
I do still kind of want a job in a doctor's office.
I watched you go through that. And then you build this thing and it's now become this like, it's crazy what you've built. It's unbelievable what you've accomplished.
Oh, gosh.
And you call it a hobby.
It's not a hobby.
It's so real.
Okay, can we move on?
Okay.
Sorry.
And then I go to, like, in everything I do, I'm so grossly disorganized. Like, I don't even know how to open a GCal invitation. And I go to your office and you have like 6 months on the wall with everything planned out and your new product lines. And you're like telling me about your custom packaging for a candle scent that you designed called, can I say what it's called?
What is it?
Cloud.
No, that's not what it's called. It's just what the like, it's not.
You're not calling it that?
No.
But I was so excited about that.
It was like what he referred to the smell as.
What is a
like
cloud
some things
smell
like this is very fig with a something, and this is very, it was like mist cloud. This is what it is. It's like the most unobtrusive, subtle, but beautiful smelling
Okay, but
thing.
your level of organization that lets you get to the place of focusing on this kind of minutia for a company that sells a consumer-facing product. Again, like this is just when you call it a hobby. Okay, I'm sorry.
Let's just.
You want to move on?
Yeah, let's move on.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us on this inaugural podcast. What?
Inaugural makes me think. Dun 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 dun. Which then makes me think of Police Academy. Remember that movie?
It's funny because it's making me think of Kanye West.
Oh.
We shouldn't. Thank you for joining us on this inaugural episode of Couples Therapy. So we'll be back. So our intention with this show, with this podcast, is we want to do weekly. We want to do it weekly. We want to have it released every Friday. We want to have the podcast be, I don't know, somewhere between a half an hour and 40 minutes is the goal, is the aim. And we want it to be, our goal for this is to have, to be able to discuss things here that don't fit into the context of an 8-minute vlog. And we want it to be much more about us than about me and my business. And what am I leaving out, babe?
I don't know. You got about 26 more seconds before it's 40 minutes on this little counter
and then it's
here.
just going to cut us off? It's just going to end it?
Well, we should just count down.
That's not interesting. But give us some feedback. Let us know what you think.
Oh gosh, now you're asking for it.
Why? I said it in the vlog. It's always so instrumental.
Okay, feedback, but no like hostile criticism.
People aren't going to be able to tell that you're not smiling because this is audio, not video. She's smiling now. Everybody, big white pearly teeth.
40:04. That's it. See you next week.
All right, I'll see you guys next week.
Bye.